Hello students, myself Dr. Divya, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in this session you will learn soil and noise pollution, their causes, effects and prevention methods. So here are the topics: soil pollution, causes for the soil pollution or the pollutants that are causing the pollution, then control measures to reduce the soil pollution, then comes the noise pollution, causes and control measures of noise pollution. So what is soil pollution? It is defined as a change in physical, chemical or biological conditions of the soil. So the natural soil will be changing, natural soil characteristics will be changing depending on the type of pollutant. So that can be either the physical change, chemical change or biological change of that particular soil. So this happens only because of man's intervention that reduces or degrades the quality of the soil. So it is like two ways it happens: natural soil pollution and man-made soil pollution. Natural and man-made soil pollution. So what is the natural soil pollution? Volcano eruption is a pollution that happens naturally, that is a natural phenomena in the earth that we have, the volcano eruption. And man-made pollution is from the agriculture pollution, like due to pesticides and insecticides, then industrial effluents and domestic pollution from the garbages. So we will see in detail how this really happens and causes pollution to our soil. So the natural causes are landslides from the mountains or hilly areas and hurricanes, and man-made causes are like urbanization due to urban cities that represent the garbage will be increasing and causing pollution, industrial waste, mining of woods or any other elements, then agricultural waste that is producing due to cropping and cutting down of the crop after the period, then domestic waste and garbage, then radioactive waste that is produced from the industry. So these are the man-made causes that are polluting the soil. Then is urbanization. Coming to urbanization, how does this happen? Like it will contaminate the soil due to wastewater, for example. Then makes the unfit for agriculture land due to construction of dams and projects. Once we construct dams and projects for improving our cities, it will be reducing the land for the agricultural and places nearby. The clean and neat fertile lands will be used for the dams and constructions, and therefore will be reducing the area. Then industrial waste, if you see this, that effluent is flowing into the rivers or lakes or any other water bodies. So discharge of large quantities of toxic, flammable, non-biodegradable substances on land results in soil pollution. So what happens really? This water, after it is percolating into the underground water also get polluted along with the top layer soil. Top layer soil is very fertile. Top layer soil is very fertile, but because of these effluents from the industries, they get polluted. Next is mining. So mining refers to a process wherein non-renewable resources or substances and valuable minerals are extracted from earth. For example, petroleum or coal from the fossil fuels, and from metals and ores from the earth. So this leads to change in the composition of soil due to contaminants that are present during mining. So agricultural waste, coming to agricultural waste, if you see the crop after cutting down, the waste that is generated is also creating pollution to the soil. So waste like leaves, grass and chemical fertilizers like pesticides, insecticides that are used for the agricultural purpose. So these also cause soil pollution. Next is a domestic waste. For example, we are using a lot of plastic in our daily life. So waste such like that, like food waste, paper or glass or plastic materials contributes to the soil pollution whenever they are thrown into the garbage. So then is the radioactive waste, the nuclear power plants, nuclear testing and explosion, like these also add valuable amount of lots of amount of radioactive materials to soil, causing pollution to the soil. Then what are the effects really after after throwing all these waste into the garbage or the soil or the earth? What happens really? What are the effects that are happening? Disposal of this industrial waste on fertile lands degrades the quality. So the first and foremost effect is the quality of the soil will be changing. Next is the urban waste slowly poisons the soil, damaging its fertility. So the fertility will be reduced. The soil quality will go down and the fertility is reduced. And then radioactive elements that are present in the polluted soil enter into the food chain. Like for example, whenever it is taken by the plants are eaten by the animals and also humans for some vegetables. So in that way, it is entering the food chain. Food chain. So this is how it will also affect the food chain of mankind and also animals. So there are some chemicals also, like the presence of these chemicals in the soil also that causes a lot of effects. Like for example, on the human health, like for chromium, like hexavalent chromium, will cause skin diseases. Then benzene will cause harmful effects on blood and causes leukemia. Then dibromochloropropanone will cause decrease in sperm count and infertility, causes infertility, and lead causes infertility, miscarriage, stillbirth, and also insanity. So these are some of the carcinogenic substances that should be avoided disposal into water bodies or soil. Then chloroethylene, that is largely used in pesticides, is causing angiosarcoma and also liver cancer. Asbestos causes liver cancer, as we have seen in our previous session that pipes, the transport of water is done previously in conventional methods, like previously traditionally from using asbestos pipelines, so that asbestos fibers will be dissolving in the water and causes, whenever we drink that water, will cause lung cancer. And polychlorinated biphenyl is also a very effective, like it will show effect on the human health. These are used mostly in the electronic components and also other components during its manufacturing. So these are the various effects that causes to human due to the contamination of soil by pollutants. Then what are other biodegradable waste? For example, we also have biodegradable waste that are used for that can be used for the biogas generation. So whenever there are biodegradable waste that are generated, we can even think of generating other products from that, so that it will be a good control measure for the reduction of soil pollution. So if it is a non-biodegradable waste, it must be recycled. So for example, plastic bags will take a lot of time for the degradation, so we can use that for the recycling, so that it will be easier in avoiding the accumulation of this plastic on the soil. Then plantation of trees must be encouraged, so that whenever there are harmful gases evolved from these can be absorbed by these plants. Then disposal of hazardous radioactive waste into soil should be prohibited. For example, in uranium extraction and processing, there are a lot of waste that is generated. So these recovered can be converted into fuel, and that can be used in the reactors in the same industries, so that we need not throw it into the water bodies or the soil. That can reduce the hazardous substances in the environment. Then the solid waste can also be used for electricity generation, and use of fertilizers or pesticides should be minimized. That can be done, because when the manure is used, biomanure is used as a pesticide. So green methods or other agriculture processes must be implemented, so that we reduce the use of fertilizers like pesticides and insecticides. Next, what is the role of an individual? Like what we actually can do from our side, like avoid non-cyclic plastic compounds that cannot be recycled. So we should not also throw plastics on roads, and industries should dispose the chemical waste properly. That each chemical has its own chemical property, so they have to be stored separately and disposed properly. Otherwise, all the hazardous gases or the substances will be creating a problem to the atmosphere and also the soil water bodies. Then enacting environmental laws and legal action must be taken against environment offenders. It means like there should be some action. For example, now we have ROHS rule for electronics wherein the amount of um, heavy metals is restricted. Heavy metals is restricted for any export of electronic component. In the same way, we can also impart some other laws for the other domestic consumables that we are using. And dumping of non-biodegradable waste should be done in low-lying areas. So whenever there is a dumping in the low-lying areas, there is no scope for washing out of these waste into the water bodies during floods or any other reasons. And people must be educated about pollution through public awareness programs. So there should be always some signboards, at least in some places, so that people will understand that they should not be littering at that place. And next comes the case studies. For example, if we consider our country, like land degradation and drought condition, it is important to protect the land from any deforestation and fragmentation or degradation of fertile land. So fertile land should be protected, must be protected. So, for example, we have about 69% of India's total geographical area. If we see, it is around having dry land. 69% is about dry land. These areas instantly are highly populated, which makes the livelihood impacts directly. So these dry lands are impacting the living space for the people. And about 32% of the India's total land is affected by the degradation due to because of these pollutants that are present. So this statistics is as per like 2017 in India, like degradation and survey mapping. So if you see, there is some land that is present in here, Karnool land that is under degradation. So this is how we have some dry lands and degradation lands that are present in our country. So next comes the noise pollution. So what is noise? Whenever there is an unwanted sound that is present, it is called as noise. That is not desirable, that is not required. So when it is crossing the optimum limit, then it comes under pollution and so called noise pollution. So this noise pollution occurs through different sources. So there are different sources like buses, railway stations, and other sound boxes or travel automobiles, etc. So the sensation of this loudness is related to the intensity of energy carried by the sound waves and is also measured in the units of decibels. So this is a unit that is used for the expression of noise that is producing from the various sources. So the sound pressure becomes damaging when the city is not desirable. It becomes damaging at about 85 decibels and is painful at 120 decibels. So whenever if we observe that whenever there are grand functions or occasions, there are a lot of sound boxes that are being used. So whenever it is painful to our ears, it means it is beyond 120 decibels. So this is how there are units that are expressed. So we have to be careful, like we have to reduce this noise that is producing from various sources. And at 180 decibels, it can even kill the person because of the eardrum damage. So human ears can take sound up to 60 decibels without any damage or hearing loss. So the sound has to be regulated, or the noise that is produced should be regulated up to 60 decibels. So what are the real causes? Like if you see this picture, you can know that there are various sounds that are produced. Leaves, falling leaves, that is around 30 decibels, which is very pleasant to hear. And at 40, it is like a human at home, like whatever the work we are doing, then music is around 60. So these are the units that are used to express. Whenever it is going higher and higher, it is very dangerous to the mankind. So vehicles produce noise that leads to noise pollution, because vehicles has lot of noise because of engines that are running, and the automobile industry is another source for this noise pollution. So it is very common in industrial areas where machines are working. So there will be continuous running of machines that are in the factories or industries running, that so they produce lot of noise. So the sources of noise are more in urban and industrial areas and than in the rural areas. So if we see the comparison, it is more and more in the urban areas for the noise pollution comparatively with the rural areas. So the source of noise may be stationary or mobile. It can be from the stationary sources or the mobile sources that are running. So the stationary sources include industries, loudspeakers, mining operations, and use of machineries, TV, radio, and grinders. These are some of the examples that we are not moving the appliances or the industries from their places, but still they produce noise. So the mobile sources include road traffic. So the traffic that is due to the large number of automobiles cause noise, highway noise, railway traffic, and air traffic. Air traffic due to aeroplanes and other aircrafts. So these are the different types of causes or different sources of noise pollution. So if you see industrial noise, mainly main categories of industrial noise activity that are produced relevant to the study or product manufacturing fabrication unit, wherein they will be using large machinery for producing the product. So there they will be using generators that also causes noise pollution, and combusting processes in furnaces due to burning of gases also produce noise. So these are the some of the examples of industrial noise that is producing pollution. Next, noise from construction works. So construction noise is another major source estimated by the construction, emitted by the construction equipment. So if you see, there are trolleys running to put on the floors one by one. So these are some of the major sources of noise pollution. So the sources of noise are dozers, excavators, front end loaders, soil compactors, cranes, air compressor, vibrators, and steel structuring materials that are moving. Then dismantling of construction materials. For example, if we want to remodulate the construction site, then the dismantling also causes noise, very high noise, that is because of noise pollution that causes noise pollution. So drillers are also one of the big noise polluters that are causing one of the contributor to this pollution. And noise from other sources like sirens, barking dogs, ambulances. So this is an emergency case only, emergency. So we need not worry about this, but police vehicles, fire engines, all these are emergency. But sirens and barking dogs, these are also some other sources. This happens only in few cases, like it will cross the high decibels only in some cases. So for example, like ambulances can be omitted or permitted, but the noise should be like siren should be used only in the emergency case. So next is the traffic, road traffic. So of all the sources, road traffic is the most prevalent that we see in the urban areas, and perhaps the most source for the noise pollution. And most people are exposed to noise from motor vehicles. So even if we are not driving that particular vehicle, when we are beside that, like we are exposed to that noise pollution. It depends on the various factors like road location, road design, and vehicle standards, and horns that are used, and traffic density. So whenever it also depends on other factors like this. So it is always better to use low noise, like lower level of orange, so that it will avoid any pollution to the atmosphere. Then railway traffic. So noise from the railway traffic is also like, it is not really that serious, but still when compared to road traffic, it is not serious, but still it is also producing lot of noise, causing pollution. So the level of noise that is associated with railway is like type of engine, like depending on the type of engine and the speed of the train, the noise condition, the noise level will be different. So this is how they also produce some noise, and the majority of noise emitted by trains is by the engines or the interaction of wheels with the tracks during stoppage at the stoppage stations, and horns or warning signals are the during the start or stopping of the trains will produce more noise comparatively when it is running. Next is the air traffic. The noise is different from that of road because it is only because of the takeoff. Only during takeoff it is having the maximum noise, and also during the landing. The other noise we cannot really hear after going into the air. So noise made by jet planes is more disturbance than propeller driven aircrafts. So jet planes will produce more noise compared to propeller driven aircrafts, and supersonic aircraft produce noise at high levels due to its intensity. So these are the different sources of noise pollution. So what are the effects that are in on the human? Like how does it affect the human after crossing 60 decibels? It will really disturb the sleep. First is a disturbing or disturbance to the sleep, and can also damage physiological and psychological health, and cause annoyance, aggression, hypertension, and high stress levels and hearing loss. This hearing loss will happen only after 120 decibels, and tetanus. This is ringing a buzzing sound in the ear. For example, whenever we are going to we are hearing high level of noise. The buzzing sound of noise will be still in the present in the ear even after we are coming out from that place. That can also lead to forgetfulness, severe depression, and panic at sometimes. And chronic exposure to noise may cause noise induced hearing loss. So these are really serious problems whenever we are suddenly exposed to high sound or high level of noise. And high noise levels can also contribute to cardiovascular effects because of anxiety and attack. There can be cardiovascular effects in the humans, rise in the blood pressure. So whenever there is a rise in blood pressure, that also causes cardiac arrest. Next is the environmental effects. So that can also have an environmental effect, like a very serious effect on the environment and animals, causing stress, increasing risk of mortality by changing the delicate balance between the predator and prey detection and avoidance. So for example, if there is a lot of noise, there are predator prey detection that happens between the animals. The communication will be disturbed, and also they cannot have proper food and increases the stress. Interference with the animals using of sounds in communication, like they will be communicating using sounds. So whenever there is interference due to other sounds, due to noise pollution, there will be effect on the reproduction and also in the navigation. And can for example, if you see birds will move in one direction, all the birds. So whenever there is other noise disturbing them, there can be effect in their movement. So it can also lead to temporary or permanent loss of hearing to animals. And very loud noise may affect plant growth indirectly because it produces vibrations and shakes the plants, that reduces the growth of that particular plant. So, what are the control measures? How can we reduce this noise pollution? We have to lubricate the machines properly in the industries so that they can be reduced. In industries, lubrication of machinery is very important so that the noise can be reduced, and tightening the loose nuts that are present in the machinery, that reducing the vibrations produced by the machinery. So the industries have to take care of machinery while running so that the vibration can be reduced, and developing new technologies to get free from the noise pollution. And also electrical vehicles, for example, does not have silencers like engines running, so that can also reduce pollution to greater extent. So electrical vehicles must be encouraged so that the noise produced will be lower compared to the diesel or engine vehicles. Next is bringing awareness among people about noise pollution and consequences of noise pollution. So we have to give an awareness, get awareness to the people so that they understand what are the effects of this noise pollution. And through law enforcement, like noise from various social functions, meetings must be controlled. And next is festivals with crackers or drums must be celebrated with low noise. So no cracker festivals must be adopted sometimes so that we avoid lot of noise that is produced. And avoiding horns except in emergency situations. Horns must be used only in emergency situation. And soundproof or echo generators, and turning down the volume of stereos. Like in our individual houses, we have to go for a soundproof or echo generators so that it will reduce the sound pollution. So as an individual, what can we really do? Like soundproof your space. So if we use some soundproofing space or floors or roofs, it will be easier for reducing the noise. And keep noisy emissions away from your bedroom and living areas. And also some uh, appliances can have these parts accessories so that it will reduce the vibrations and also reduces the noise that is produced during its running. Spend time away from the noise, away from the urban areas. We should give relaxation to our ears also. So we should even spend time away from these urban areas so that it will reduce the stress levels. And also learn to meditate whenever there is high level of noise around so that we can even balance the stress and also high blood pressures. So these are the various measures that we can take so that we can reduce the noise pollution. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.